Chris Krok Show, hour number 2 of the program on News Talk 820 WBAP. Craziness going on out there. We'll be talking about so much of this. By the way, some of your stories that you guys sent on Twitter are pretty amazing. One guy with a bunch of them drinking and smoking marijuana when they were young with older women. Crazy story, and that I'll just leave it at that. And a couple other ones is like, wow. So calls are best, but the social media ones you guys are mentioning are pretty crazy as well for things that you did that were stupid when you were young. Anyway, time now to get into Epstein Island and the latest today from the Epstein document tranche that was released. More and more coming out, and this is getting more intense and more interesting, if you will. I will ask you a few questions, as Dwayne would say. A few questions on this. Are you shocked by any names that have come out on Epstein's list so far? And do you think there's a lot more that we don't know about and a lot more big name people involved with all this teen sex trafficking? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. This comes out today from the Daily Mail, among many other stories, but Epstein documents latest. Virginia Giuffre, that's the young lady who was sex trafficked and is now, of course, a woman. And these new documents today claim she had sex with another foreign prince in the south of France after being trafficked to Prince Andrew. She also says that Bill Clinton visited Epstein Island twice. Bill Clinton has told us over the years he never went to Epstein Island. By the way, oh my gosh, did you catch this? It's on my Twitter feed. You gotta follow me on Twitter at Chris Krok Show. That's at Chris Krok Show, ChrisKrok. But there, I got to scroll down here. It's on my Twitter feed at Chris Krok Show, but I'm going to scroll down on my own feed because, let's see, where is it? Here we go. Can't find my own thing. My own front page. There we go. Okay, so where is it about Bill Clinton? There's a picture. This is pretty awesome, actually. There is a picture. Here it is. The Clinton Presidential Center just deleted this post. Journalist Julio Rosas tweeted out earlier today, and I retweeted it. On November 7th, this is from the Clinton Presidential Center. They deleted it after they realized what this was about. Ready? They posted this today. On November 7th, 1998, President Bill Clinton typed out and sent his first email. Can you guess who it was to? Apparently, Bill Clinton's first email ever was to Epstein. Oh, wow. Hey, Epstein. I want to get a hookup. I like them young. Come on. It's Bill. Come on, baby. Don't let me down. Anyway, so I retweeted that. They deleted it because I bet you the first email was, apparently it may very well have been to Epstein. Honestly, that's what the speculation on that is. Anyway, Prince Andrew, we all know he's been outed, but he says he didn't, but he gave a big fat check to Virginia Giuffre to settle this and admitted no wrong, but she's like, yep, no, I had sex with him when I was a teenager. Prince Andrew, accuser Virginia Giuffre, says she had sex with another foreign royal on the south of France when she was 17, but she did not know his name. I'm kind of thinking, well, then you know why? I was going to say, why don't they have pictures of who it could be and let her see and identify the person? I think it's because nobody is asking her because the government doesn't want to know. Do you know, I heard recently about CIA, like a lot of these people were informants and or were on the CIA payroll in the CIA, and intelligence folks protected them. And so that's why a lot of this information didn't get off, because a lot of these socialites, a lot of these really wealthy people, a lot of these big-time folks are jet-setting all over the country, the world, and they meet a lot of important adversaries and friends, and they inform. And so our intelligence apparatus, or whatever you want to call them, groups, may have been protecting them in this. I don't know, but that's one of the things I heard. But anyways, on one occasion, Virginia Giuffre says, first of all, she said she saw Bill Clinton on Epstein's island twice. One occasion, she had dinner with Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein, and young women who looked like sisters. She did not allege having sex with Clinton, but she said he was privy to the Epstein's abuse of minors. Remember, she also said in her deposition that came out a few days ago, or last week it may have been, that Epstein told her Clinton likes him young. Now, for him saying Clinton likes him young, to me that says 15 or 16. For Epstein young, that's going to be 17 or under. Other guests on the island include Al Gore. Yes, I went from an alpha male. Yes, I went to look manly with women. Yes, we are alpha male, aren't we? We are sexy. Yes, I will not step down. Yes. So Al Gore went with his wife. Oh, boy. According to Virginia Giuffre, Gore and his wife spent a group dinner only talking to each other, she said. Andrew and Giuffre, as I mentioned, she said that there was sex with a foreign royal in south of France when she was 17, but she can't remember who. She also described flying on Epstein's plane with Alan Dershowitz. You notice he hasn't been on Fox News for a while, since this busted out, because he is a Fox News, contributor. He's a brilliant legal mind. He has denied it, and she withdrew the accusations, is what I read recently. So it's kind of a draw. He says it wasn't me. I never was there. But she described flying on Epstein's plane with Alan Dershowitz and another girl. She and the other young woman were asked to perform oral sex on the pair. When it says on the pair, what does that mean? Another girl and on Alan Dershowitz? I don't know. Then swap before being forced into intercourse, she claims. One bombshell claims, she says Epstein paid her $15,000 to have sex with Prince Andrew in 2001. Let me pause on this Daily Mail article today to go back to something I read yesterday. That's just sick. These women were in a queue. They weren't women, they were children. These little girls were in a queue, and Epstein would have them come in, I read yesterday, one after the other. Okay, he would have relations with a teenage girl, underage. She would leave, then he would have the next one, and the next one. There's a picture I saw yesterday of three girls by the pool, kind of bending over to get in the camera picture. They were kind of leaning down. They were standing up, but they were leaning down, all three of them at a pool. And that one talked about that he had them one after the other, after the other, after the other. That's what he was doing. I mean, it's just, this guy, you know what it made me think about? He had a God-sized hole in his heart that he filled with this. And when you live like that, it could be the same thing for gambling. It could be the same thing for eating, drinking, and drugs. When you live like this, you will never be satiated. Whether it's illegally having sex with teenage girls, raping them, whether it's having sex with women that are of age, over and over again, it's a bottomless pit, is what it is. What a sick man he was. Oh, you know what I want to tell you about coming up next on this? Epstein's brother. I don't know if you caught this. I retweet most of Tucker Carlson's segments and interviews. I like almost all of them a lot. And I saw the one he did, and I retweeted this. It's on my Twitter feed, at Chris Krok Show. That's at Chris Krok Show, ChrisKrok. Epstein's brother did a 20-minute or 25-minute interview with Tucker. Won't show his face, doesn't want people to know what he looks like because he likes to be left alone. And he's not on this crusades in that regard, but I'll tell you what he said, though. It's fascinating what he shared and what he's pursuing right now on his late brother. But I'm going to tell you about other allegations with celebrities with orgies and other bad stuff that was going on, and a supermodel that was there that we all know who this supermodel is, this lady. All that coming up next. And then after we finish up on this, my question again for the Epstein Island thing is, are you shocked by any of these names that have come out? And do you think there's a lot more that we don't know about and a lot more big name people involved with all this teen sex trafficking? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm going to finish this off. There's a few more big names in here, a few more allegations I'll share with you. And then we're going to get into, you have to hear this, a Gen Z female in her Walmart uniform complaining that she's working full-time and cannot live on her own, and that you and I, 20 years ago, when we were going through this, we didn't have to do this. We had it easy, and that we've ruined the economy for her, Gen Z people. Wait till you hear about that, and then we're going to talk about that, have a lot to say on that. That's all coming up next. Chris Krok Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3. Chris Krok program. In just a few, we're going to get into this Gen Z Walmart employee complaining. You're going to hear her complaint, and it's very embarrassing, I think. But nonetheless, we have to pick this apart. I will say she does not swear and scream and yell like a little child, but I think she's bass backwards on her opinion. So we'll get to that in just a couple. But real fast on Epstein stuff. First of all, I want to tell you that I listened to a 25-minute Tucker Carlson interview with Epstein's brother, and I believe him. He's like, I had nothing to do with this. Think of it this way. Does my older or younger brother who live in a different state, who see me physically a couple times a year, of course, I'd love to be by them, but, our careers take us different places, right? And, but thank God I'm not in the godforsaken state of Illinois. I couldn't imagine anymore with all the freedoms I have here. I'm being serious. When I go back to it, it's insane. Can't have my gun on me. Wait, half your family lives there, Producer Garrett? And where are they? What area? Probably in Chicagoland. I don't even know where that is. Okay. But still, they could be conservatives in a small town in Illinois, but it doesn't matter because they're cuffed. The genital cuffs have been put on them by the Chicago liberals who run the whole state. Anyways, but Epstein's brother says his big thing is he cannot get any documentation on how his brother died. He knows for a fact, what was that, Dr. Michael Baden, I think is the guy's name, the guy who's done like 10,000, he's famous, what do you call it, autopsy doctor, whatever that is, I can't remember what it's called. Yes, coroner. Thank you, Producer Garrett. He's done like 10,000 autopsies, and he does celebrity autopsies and, big ones in the news or ones that we are in the news because it's a terrifying or bad case that's blown up nationally. Anyways, he was there, and I think he did the autopsy and or supervised it, and he said this is not this was choking. This was not him killing himself. This was the crushed esophagus, the bones being broken, everything. It was totally classic homicide. And I believe that. His brother believes that. But here's the thing. Several things. Just from my memory. He said, why did they, when they took him from the federal penitentiary, whatever it was, the prison there in New York City, why did they take him from the prison to the hospital and then change his clothes? They put him in a hospital gown. It's like, why did they do that? He literally was dead when they got him. And they changed his clothes. Why? All sorts of stuff with camera angles they talked about and everything. But he knows his brother was murdered, and the fire department is supposed to have complete paperwork on everything. The response team, the ambulance, the EMTs, everything. Nothing. He can't get it. And then when he goes to the city/county offices there in New York City, they got nothing on his brother. When he goes to the fire department, they got nothing. And so each one of them says, well, you got to talk to the fire department. Fire department says, you got to talk to the city, the county. No one has anything. And he is determined to get the cause. And, I assume he has a lot of money. Even when people like Epstein die, and their estates are worth, and this is just my novice neophyte guesstimation from what I've seen over the years, but when people that have that kind of money die, even though they're a criminal and they have tons of ill-begotten wealth, and there's massive settlements, that his brother probably inherited still a massive amount of money is my guess. I would just guess. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a couple $100 million. I have no idea. So he would not show his face to Tucker. He doesn't show his face to anybody or anything. He had a video of himself at the county city office there, whatever, trying to get the documentation and arguing back and forth with them there, or at least discussing with them. And he recorded it, but he wouldn't show his face with his phone. It was like just his chest. So he's adamant about that because he has the anonymity, and Epstein's probably a very common name, I think. I have no idea. Obviously not for Jeffrey Epstein, but so he has an anonymity. He wants that. And he had nothing to do with his brother's stuff, his evil deeds. So he's digging, and that was fascinating to hear that. A little bit more on what came out today. Virginia Giuffre, one of the teenage girls who was sex trafficked and raped as a teen, underage teen, also claims that Gwendolyn Beck, I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is? Gwendolyn Beck. Participated in orgies with Epstein. Beck previously claimed to have flirted with Prince Andrew on Little St. James, one of the Epstein Islands. Giuffre also claims that to have been trafficked to Victoria's Secret mogul Les Wexner multiple times. Giuffre claims Epstein partied with Heidi Klum, the supermodel, but did not give any details of her visiting the island. She also claims to have had sex with Victoria's Secret. Well, we already mentioned that one. Mentioned too many times in the same story. 7 exhibits that were released today, totaling over 600 pages, were made public today. And this is what we have out of it. Giuffre also refused to name some of the men she says she was trafficked to out of fear for her safety. She's still too afraid to mention some of them. Don't know who those people are, but there it is. And then one of the other teenage victims' deposition is over 400 pages. She claimed in previous emails her friend had slept with Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Richard Branson, and that Epstein videotaped the encounters. That is Ransom. I forget who they don't have the first name of this young lady, but Ransom. Remember that? It was one of the other girls. Although a lot of her allegations she dropped. So I don't know if she was, wildly making stuff up or what. This young lady named it's Ransome. I read about her the other day. She's claimed like Trump and this other stuff, and she dropped it. All men denied her claims that she mentioned Branson, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. She later retracted all of those out of fears for her safety. Who knows? Okay, coming up next on the Chris Krok program, I cannot wait to get into this. I did promise to tell you at 9:30 tonight, which here we are, which top North Texas zip codes are which are the top zip codes in North Texas for home sales. I have them right here. I'll share that with you coming up next. Also, it'll be fascinating on that one. Also, speaking of the home sales, my wife, I told her what our house is worth roughly from sources that I have that are really good, I trust. My wife didn't believe me. She's like, no, it can't be. I'm like, yes. She's like, no, it can't be that much. I'm like, yes. Plus the addition I've been talking about for over a year. We got it finished like 8 months ago or so. We added 440 square feet to the house. I mean, yes, it's real, and it's ridiculous. There's no way in God's green earth we could afford the house we have today because of this insane inflation that Joe Biden foisted upon us. But then we're going to get a Gen Z Walmart lady, a young lady who says, I can't afford to live. You, meaning you and I, ruined it for me and my generation because it was easy for you. It's not for me. Oh, we're going to talk about that next on the Chris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM. Real fast, before we get into this Gen Z Walmart chick, you have to hear her. We're going to pick it apart. We're going to talk about it, you and I, in our thoughts. But first, North Texas top zip codes for home sales. This is big. This is huge. Look, I have a friend in Forney, and I was shocked that Forney's one of them. But then again, I'm not. You know why? Dude, you're going to pay an arm and a leg and another arm and part of your head nowadays to be in the closer burbs, aren't you? And I'm not knocking Forney. I'm not knocking if you live there because you are in one of the hot zips there. Forney's 75126 zip code is number 6 in this new study on which zip codes are the hottest in the nation. So Forney is one of the hottest in the nation, number 6. Isn't that insane, dude? To me, it's Bumble, you know what? It's way out there. No, thank you. But to my friend who lives there, I love you very much. I just saw them at church on Sunday. But dang, yo, no way. No. I mean, if I had to, yes, but no. I don't want to live out there. Cloistered away. I am so glad. I said this yesterday. I said, thank you, God, for getting my house for me and getting in there. You know, it'll be 9 years in the spring, which blows me away. But my gosh, I don't want to be anywhere else than where I'm at, which is not far at all, comparatively speaking. No. So, but God bless you if you're in Forney's 75126 zip. You're number 6 in the country. I think it's great. I think it shows how blown up everywhere is around here, and that's a good thing, I suppose. 75126 is home to growing neighborhoods, including Overland Grove. Never heard of it. Fox Hollow. Never heard of it. Travis Ranch. Never heard of it. I bet you my friend lives in one of those three. I have no idea, but I've been there several times over the years. Forney has been one of the Metroplex's hottest housing markets in recent years. This is on WFA TV Channel 8, by the way, their coverage. Median home price in Forney is, and this is why it's hot, $352K. In Dallas, it's $440K. So there you go. Almost 100 grand less. 2 other North Texas zip codes made the top 25 for this past year. Denton County's 76227 is number 7 in the country, up from 13 the prior year, and 76179 zip code in the northwest edge of Fort Worth at number 10, 76179. Okay. There you go. I did read something about Californians today, and I will tell you this. I know that most of them are more conservative, which allays my fears. But California, I read something, I don't know if it was in here or another place, but the prices are higher for so many things because of them. Because of all the moving here and all the explosion, expansion, everything like that. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. Nonetheless, this young lady, you're going to hear her speak. She in this rant I'm about to play for you. She is in her Walmart vest with her Walmart ID on it. I think I can see her name, but it's clearly a Walmart uniform she's in. Just the vest and her tag, a name tag. And here's her rant about how we ruined everything for her and all of Gen Z. And this is on my Twitter feed if you want to watch it, share it, or comment on it there. At Chris Krok Show. That's at Chris Krok Show, ChrisKrok.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy for not wanting to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of their lives. Let me put it in perspective for everybody who's a little confused here, okay? I work 5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week, okay? I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat.
Oh, wait, I interrupted her little speech there. I apologize. Hold on.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat. All by myself. I would not be capable of doing that. 20 years ago when you were getting started, you could live on your own. 20 years ago when you first started, you were able to do everything that I am now struggling to do.
Let me pause it for a second. My good friend from Chicago, one of my good friends from Chicago that I grew up with back in the day, his first 2 years out of college, maybe even 3, he was a cop in a suburb and he lived at home. That sounds bad, doesn't it? You know what, though? He saved up his money. He bought what's called a 2-flat in the city of Chicago. He rented out one, lived in the other, and then he left that one that he still owned, at least he did own, and then he bought his house with his wife in the suburb that I grew up in, a nice one. And he retired as a high-ranking firefighter. He left the police force because he didn't want to be the bad guy anymore. Interesting. I lived in the suburb he was in, and he would stop by. It was great memories we have together with my wife and I and him stopping by and such in his uniform and, taking a 5-minute break. We all used to smoke back then. He asked for a smoky treat. Had a smoky treat at our place. We had a little shelter place for him, a little rest with his friend. And he ended up, after 2, 3, 4 years of being a cop, he said, I'm tired of being the bad guy. So he went and was a firefighter. He retired recently as a high-ranking one in one of the suburban ones. Now he's a chief at another one. He's double dipping, which is fine because you can do that. It's legal. But man is very successful. I love him very much. He's married, kids, everything's great about this guy. And he lived at home for 2-3 years. He saved up his money. And she's whining about this? What? She's whining about this? There's more for this rant. I'll play the rest. I'll play the rest. I apologize.
Let me add another perspective here. You've been working for 20 years. You have 20 years of working experience behind your belt. You have 20 years of experience in a career that has allowed you to gain raises, to get more money, to profit you in an economy that you created. You can sit here and you can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but I've been working my tail end off just to barely make it by. And respectfully, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to work my tail end off, wasting all of my life working just to barely be able to pay my bills. And that is what you created, not Gen Z. We're just here getting started. You've been doing it for the last 20 years. You tell me how it got ruined. We can sit here and we can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but you let the economy turn into what it did. You let it all run to hell. And now it's Gen Z's fault because we don't want to work to fix your mistakes.
Wow. So much about that. For me personally, too, I made $5.25 out of college in my first full-time job at a TV station doing news. I literally was this close. My mom told me to apply for food stamps because I couldn't afford to live. And I had a 4.0 GPA. I was the departmental scholar. I was some other award. I got a couple of medals and all that stuff. All this big time stuff for my graduation there in college. And I was Mr. I'm Awesome. I did all these internships at Dateline NBC, at WABC Talk Radio in New York City, which used to be a sister station. I did all these things, and it meant nothing out of college. Because I had to have my butt hit the ground, and my you-know-what was handed to me. My butt was handed to me. I thought I was Mr. Superstar, but yet what happened was the reality. I'm not a superstar anymore. I'm starting from scratch, and nobody gives a frog's fat you-know-what about who I am or what I did in college or interning. Doesn't mean anything. What do you got for me right now? Okay, you're a peon. You're an assistant producer in a small television, market. Shut up and do what your job is and don't complain. So I talked to my mom about it, and I had to make ends meet with my credit card for a little extra because I was working a full-time job, working hard, and I had weird hours and everything. And so my mom said apply for food stamps. So I was this close but I couldn't qualify for them, but I was right on the threshold. And that was my first job out of college. And this twit blames me. You twit, you arrogant fool. I am so glad you're getting your butt handed to you. I am so glad you're mad. Keep being mad. You know what you got to do, though, ma'am? Does she sound like a Democrat to you? You don't have to be a Democrat to be that way, right? You can be a Republican or independent. I mean, she's a young twit, I think, apolitical. But you know what? If she can keep voting Democrat, we're almost there. We're so close. It's working. Can you feel Bidenomics? Can you feel it? It's working. Yes, it's our fault. Joe's healing it. Joe's fixing all of our mistakes. I don't want to get political on this, actually. I'm just trying to be funny a little bit. But here's what I want to ask about this young lady in her rant. Did you have it easy, as she alleges? Did you have it easy, as she alleges, 20 years ago? Or whenever it was that you were just getting started as a young adult? Did you have it easy 20 years ago, whenever it was you were just getting started as a young adult, as she claims? And how did you make ends meet when you were fresh out of college or in those first several years out of high school? She's in that age bracket, obviously, somewhere around there, So how did you make ends meet when you were her? In her situation? I'll give you more stories for myself, but I want to hear about you. Did you have it easy, as she alleges, 20 years ago, or whenever it was you were just getting started as a young adult? And how did you make ends meet when you were in her age bracket there, maybe fresh out of high school for 2, 3, 4, 5 years out of high school, or if you went to college, fresh out of college? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Your call is coming up next. I'll tell you some more of my stories on News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy for not wanting to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of their lives. Let me put it in perspective for everybody who's a little confused here, okay? I work 5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week, okay? I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat.
Blah, 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 blah. On and on and on. She blames us for ruining the economy. So let me ask you this. Did you have it easy? She alleges 20 years ago you and I had it easy and that we've ruined it for her and her generation. Did you have it easy 20 years ago, as she alleges, or whenever it was you were just getting started as a young adult? And how did you make ends meet when you were fresh out of college or in those first several years out of high school? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. As I mentioned, I made $5.25 an hour out of college, a full-time job with benefits and everything, but it was that's what I made. And then I worked my first radio job, within a year or so after that in a suburban pea shooter radio station in suburban Chicago, and I made about the same thing. I made $5 an hour. And, I had to get up and do, crappy work that nobody wants to do, running the board for a stupid 6 a.m. to noon shift on a Sunday morning, playing boring shows and stuff. So, welcome to the club, ma'am. Welcome to the club. When I was at that radio station I just told you about, it was a part-time job. I had to work 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet. My wife says, what are you doing, Mr. Superstar? You need to work more. You're only working 20 hours a week, 10, 15, 20 hours a week at this place. Get another job. I'm working 2 jobs. She says, what's wrong with you? I ended up doing 3. And she was right to hand me my butt. My pride was getting in the way of providing for myself and my wife. All right, y'all. So tell me how you made ends meet when you were fresh out of college or high school. And did you have it easy 20 years ago or whenever it was that you were just getting started, as she alleges? And do you really think we ruined the economy, as she alleges, this Gen Z Walmart employee who can't afford to live on her own even though she works full time? As if she's supposed to work 40 hours a week and then just be able to afford to live on her own. Magical formula. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Terry in Plano, you're on WBAP.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Well, I started out, I went back to school, and I had a son, a single mom, and thank God I had my parents to watch him when I needed him. Mm-hmm. But I was having to work sometimes 2 and 3 jobs at a time. One was full-time, but I did pick up other work as necessary. I even moved back with Mom and Dad it was temporary for about a year and a half, and had to get my footing, and I'm glad I did. But it was a lot of work, and it built character. The appreciation for a dollar. Some young ladies consider having to have their nails done or having their nails done a must, or having their hair done every 6 weeks a must. Well, no, it's not. You can do just fine without all the extras, right. And you just know where to make cuts and where you need to.
So did you have it easy then, as she alleges?
No.
And did you ruin this economy, as she alleges?
Oh, no, not at all.
Is it unusual for her to work at Walmart 40 hours a week full-time and still not be able to afford to live on her own? I mean, didn't you have to do that?
I did for a time live on my own, but that's, I was going through a divorce and realized, hey, you're going to have to move back.
You moved back in, and she says that she shouldn't have to live with her parents to survive. Interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. But,
Terry, thank you for sharing.
Do what you have to.
Exactly right. I totally agree, and that was me, and that was you. I'm glad you're doing well now, Terry. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Chris in Dallas, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
I am doing well. Yeah, I started out in college. I was even making less, but you get a roommate, and that's how you survived. And when I became a police officer, my first police job, I made $23,800 a year.
Holy crap!
And I got paid once a month.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So I, made friends with my neighbors. Before I was a cop, I was a cook, and my neighbor didn't like to cook, but they had money for food, and I literally had $50 to my name after I paid all my bills for the entire month. In fact, I recall one time that I was sick and I needed some prescription medication. I didn't have any money for it, and I went to Eckerd's, and it was a drugstore at the time. I think they're out of business now, but they accepted the J.C. Penney's card, and I remember walking.
Oh, wow.
They accept the J.C. Penney's card? I'm rich. Because that's the only credit card I had that didn't have a balance on it. And I bought soup and all kinds of stuff for
all right.
I was sick on a J.C. Penney's card.
And you're protecting us on the streets, putting your life at risk, and you can't afford to live on your own, or you're struggling to get by. What's your message to what's your message to her then? This lady complaining in Gen Z saying she can't afford to live and we ruin the economy, and you had it made.
Well, my first job, like you, probably a little bit before you, I was $3.85 an hour.
Let me put you on hold. Stand by. I want you to be able to respond to this young lady, and I thank you very much for your service. Stand by. We'll let you finish that off coming up next. Plus your call, 800-288-WBAP. Chris Krok program.